Good morning everyone and welcome to another Flosstube video. This is Flosstube number 43 and I have a bunch of stitching for you. It's been about 2 weeks since my last update because I have a lot of things going on, so I kind of skipped last week, but I'm going to tell you more about that towards the end of the video. We are going to talk about cross stitching first, but first, if you are a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back. It warms my heart that you want to spend some time with me. And if you're new here, hi, my name is Marika. I come from Stockholm, Sweden, where I live with my boyfriend and my 2 cats, and this is a channel mostly about cross stitching. So we're going to start with the cross stitching today, and I have learned a new shortening. It's called FFN, which means finish for now. So I am going to start off with my finish for now. So my finish for now is the Castle Homecoming by Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. It is a mystery sal that is currently going on, and I finished clue 5 just after I finished talking with you last time, and the next clue is coming up in about a week, I think, middle of October. So yeah, this is a finish for now. I cannot stitch more on it because I don't have more stitching or more pattern to do. But yes, this is how it looks. It is stitched on a 16 count Valor by Picture Plus. This is all kit. I bought the kit. I was waiting for the time, kind of put a timer in so I knew when they were releasing, and I just jumped on it because I know they usually sell out fairly quickly. So I picked this up with the kit. So that is the kit. I think it is just cute. And since last week I basically just worked on clue 5, which is this part of the stitching. So yeah, that is my finish for now. So now we're gonna head over to starts and finishes, because I have not been working on any whips this period. I've just been starting things and finishing them. So the first one is a baby sampler for my little brother's little girl. So she should be about 2 weeks old now, and I knew I wanted to make a baby sampler for her. Now my baby sampler looks a little bit different than the pattern, so I thought I'd show you. This is the original pattern, or this is how it was supposed to look. It has these oranges and blues, and it's really, really gorgeous. It is from, let's see, I have notes. It is from issue 263, January 2018, of World of Cross Stitching, and the designer is Lucy Heaton. And this is how I made it. Let's see if we can get it to focus. I think it is focusing. Let's see. There we go. So this is the whole sampler. As you see, mine is a lot more pinker. So I really love this balloon. I really love this baby sampler. I just didn't want to have it in oranges and blues. I wanted to have it in like pinks and purples and everything because she's a little girl and I kind of like it. I have all the opportunities to stitch all the pink stuff right now, okay? So I do have a color conversion for this, which you can find in the description down below, and hopefully on a blog. I am in the midst of kind of producing a blog. I don't know if my blog will be up when this goes up, but as soon as my blog goes up, I will link it in the description down below. It's more of a help for me to be able to go back and look at things, but hopefully it can help you too. But this is the little baby sampler. What I've done is I changed all of the colors. So I took a 3 color tone of purple, a 3 color tone of pink, and then I took these blues. If I would redo this, I would probably use the lightest, which is 800, as my darkest, and then take a even lighter tone in blue, because it ended up being a little bit darker than I was expecting. I also, if I had directly translated the pattern, the little shirt on the mouse would have been purple, but I wanted it to be pink, so I just took the pinks up here and added it to that. And then I also changed the color of the basket, because the basket was kind of tone in tone with one of the oranges, or yellow oranges. So there's a few colored switches on this, but I actually really like it. It is stitched on 16 count blush by Swagard. If you like this, I have it in my store. I love it. It's not baby pink. It's almost a baby pink with a touch of coral. Yeah, I think it goes out pretty well on the screen, the color, and it's just gorgeous. It was super fun to stitch. I had a lot of fun to stitch that. The next project is one of those that I'm not sure if I'm gonna count it as 1 or as 15. You're gonna see it. I haven't decided yet, because it feels like this is gonna be 15 FFOs in the end, so maybe I should kind of redo how I count it in my whip counter, so that when I finish them I can kind of do that. But yeah, this was kind of towards the end of September, not before October started, and at that moment I'm like, I don't have any Halloween whips. I didn't know what to start when it came to Halloween. I was very much up in the air about everything. I do have my little zombie pumpkin spice latte that is halfway done, but there's so much black in that, and I didn't want to stitch black at the moment. Anyhow, this is Rockin' Robins, and it's a bunch of teeny tiny ornaments, or some of them are bigger than others. But yeah, this is from a design library. So the World of Cross Stitching magazine, every issue has what they call a design library. They have one of their designers design anywhere between, like, it depends on the size of them, but it can be between 30 and 50 designs basically. It's a lot of designs you can find there, and a lot of them are their medium, and like they're smaller designs, and you can either make a sampler out of them, or you can use them on cards. They have a lot of examples in the beginning. This specific one is from issue 195, which is the November 2012 issue, and it is also designed by Lucy Heaton, so the same person that designed my baby sampler designed these. So I'm gonna go through them. All of them have like a little red robin. That's kind of the theme. So I have a snowman with a red robin. I have two tables, one birdhouse and one like feeding table with little ornaments, with little robins. And then I have this one, which is the like North Pole with a little robin. So those were my first four. And then I have another four where I have a candy cane, a Christmas tree with a red robin, a sock, and that cake of some sort. Row number 3, which is 8 to 12, 9 to 12, which is a little hat, star, wreath, and just a little branch. And then I have my last 3 ones, and then another with another kind of branch, in a wrapper of some sort, and then some tinsel. So those are my 15 designs. At the end of it, I realized after 4 days, because I stitched like 5 or 6 days on these, after 4 days, I started to get a little bit bored. So the story behind these is that last year I found a countdown calendar by Doreen Jones, and she had like 24 pieces. They were the same size of things, and I made, out of those 24 or 25, I made 18, and then I couldn't do any more after I did the 18, and I sent them out to friends and family, and I really, really like doing that, so I want to do it again this year. However, I don't want to do it just before I'm leaving for vacation like I did last year. So I wanted to be a little bit prepared, so this is the first bout of them. I do think that these like teeny tiny ones are actually just going to be small ornament on my ornament tree, and like I have a little teeny tiny tree in the living room where I'm supposed to be changing out ornaments during the year. Right now I both have Christmas and Valentine, and I didn't decorate it for Halloween. But yeah, so these are those designs. They are all stitched on a 14 count parchment by Swagart, again a fabric that I have in my store if that is something you want. I really like the tone in it because it has a tonal that is very much in line with the 430s. So this is like 435, 37, maybe 433 or 434, but those are kind of the tonals that these the fabric is in. So I really like how they go together. So if that is something you're looking for, you can find it in my store. I had a lot of fun stitching these. Now I'm just gonna take some time to actually finish them into some cute little ornaments. But we're not done. I have a new start. So those were starts and finishes. So they are new starts, but they're also finishes. So starts and finishes. This last one I have just started, I have not finished, and that is Into the Woods. Oh, that was not... How do we do this? Here. It's better with a black background, with it being black. So here we go. You get my iPad behind it. But yeah, this is Into the Woods. I just want to give a note to this, is that when you look at the perforated paper, you see it looks a little bit blotchy. That is all me. So when I got these, because I sell these in my store, I always pick out one that is going to be the one I stitch for the store, and that is this one. And when I do that, I also photograph them. So I remove everything out of the packaging, photograph what you get, and you can see that on my Etsy store. I have an image that kind of showcases what actually is in the kit. When I put this back into the bag, I accidentally put the black against the printed piece, and I think this picked up the white from the printed piece. So I had white spots everywhere on it, so I needed to hide that. So I just used a black permanent marker, and I kind of drew on it. It made it easier to find the holes when I'm stitching, and also most of this will be stitched over anyhow, so the blotchiness will not be shown anyhow. But yeah, that is that. I think I'm like 40% done, and I'm just doing the cross stitching at the moment. I'm trying to do the borders first because those are hardest to get in this frame. I'm looking at getting another kind of frame for this, but this is a button and beads kit called Into the Woods, and I was super inspired by Christine over at Calico Whimsy. Yeah, totally inspired because she showed her, and I'm like, yes, now it's time, now I'm gonna stitch this. So that is my current whip that I'm stitching at the moment. I don't really have any stitchy plans per se because it's gonna be a little bit out there, and I'm gonna talk a little bit about it towards the end of the video, kind of why that is. And I don't have any haul because I have been fairly good in not buying that much cross stitching. However, I do have one kit coming that is coming in the mail, and I'm going to show it next week, hopefully next week. So that is all of the cross stitching I have for you today. However, I do have a bunch of knitting and some knitting hauls, so I thought I'll pick that up here. So for knitting, I do have 2 projects on the go at the moment. I think I have 2 or 3, but I have 2 active ones. Oh, I thought it had gone off the needles. It hadn't. Anyhow, I have a pair of socks that is almost done. I have a lot of threads hanging from it too, so it's a little bit now. So I have 2 socks here. I'm doing them 2 at a time, magic loop. That's toe up socks. That's how I do socks. It works very well for me. I can knit them on the train. I always had a problem with me dropping when I was doing double pointed needles. So just using the loop method really made knitting much easier for me when it comes to socks. This is Regia in the colorway 4151, I think. Let's see. I have it here. Yeah, the color is 4151. This yarn is fairly old. I think it's a couple of years old, so I don't know if you can get it somewhere. I did search for it and I couldn't really find it anywhere, but it's like just it's a gorgeous, it's not self-striping, but it does have a really nice texture. Regia is a German like sock yarn. It's machine dyed and everything, but I really like knitting with them, and they're also a little bit more on the kind of stronger side. I have a lot of socks that are in merino and they wear thin in minutes, and these kind of these are for Christopher. I hope they're long enough. I don't know if they're long enough, but I hope that they're long enough. And I have maybe about this much more of the ribbing, and then they're done. So that is my socks that are currently on the needles. So I always have to close my little bags because otherwise Gizmo or Leia will steal them. But this is the bag it lives in. It's just a teeny tiny knitting bag that I made a bunch of years ago. It's just this was one like trial and error. How does it work? I really like that it has this meshy fabric on the bottom. I think this fabric comes from like IKEA curtains or something. We bought some thicker curtains a bunch of years ago and then we cut them off. I kept the fabric. The second knitting that I'm working on is not so much for the world. I'm going to show you my little swatch. But this is supposed to be a jacket, a little like cardigan for my brother's little daughter. And this is the swatch. It kind of shows the texture that it's going to be, which is just this super gorgeous. It is a little bit of a complicated because it's a lot of yarn overs, and then the next row you drop the yarn overs, and my brain didn't really understand that, so I actually made the swatch mostly just to be able to see how it worked. And I did actually get gauge, so it's a gauge swatch. The yarn that I'm using, I actually have an extra ball here, is this. It's Merino 120 by Lang Yarns. It's the degrade version of Merino 120, so it does have that like, it goes into different colors. I really love this yarn. When I saw it, I'm like, I'm gonna knit something out of it for a little girl. And it's merino, so it's so soft to the skin, so little children can have it. So I'm stitching the 3 to 6 month size. So I don't need to have this done until in 2 to 3 months anyhow. So that's good. And then we have the last part of my knitting, and that is yarn haul. So let me pull this together and let's get this started. I have gone a little bit yarn crazy in the past few months. So first I thought I'd show you the yarn that I picked up for when I picked up the Lang. So I picked up Lang, which is these two, because I needed more yarn to the shirt. I had 2 balls of yarn. These are 125 long each, or 120 meters each, and I needed 297 meters. So I realized I needed at least 3 yarns, and then I needed for the gauge swatch 3 balls of yarn and then gauge swatch. So I picked up 2 more, so now I have 4. The other yarn I picked up was some opal, and I kind of picked up these to work together. This is a very bright pink and it blows up completely. But yeah, it's a very, very bright pink. And then I found this, which is like more muted, but I thought they would work great together. So this could be like toes and heels, and this could be the rest of the sock. Really like opal yarns. Again, I think this also is a German brand. Here in Europe, they're fairly easy to get a hold of, and they have like, their yarns are self-striping. So this is, let's see if you can see that. It's like the example of the yarn. It's very bad photos, but I do like these yarns. I have a bunch of them. I have way too much yarn and I bought even more. And then I have a friend that is a bit poorly, and I really, really wanted to make her some socks. That is why I'm working so hard on Christopher socks, because I really need to get them off the needles so I can get another pair of socks on the needles. And she enjoys Halloween all year around, so I decided I'm gonna stitch some Halloween socks. So I went on to Hobby, H-O-B-B-I-I. There is a .com and a I think I have the .se that I am buying from, but I think it's just a European. It's just a, they have one European affiliation and one US affiliation. Like, they are a little bit separate, they have a little bit of different yarn, but if you're in Europe, you just go to Hobby and it will kind of direct you to your country code, basically. Anyhow, I bought a whole bunch of Halloween yarns, so I thought I'd show you them. Now, these have names in the store, but they don't have names on the kind of the band, so I'm just going to tell you the band number. So this is number 02, so it's like purple and green, lime green. I really love that one. Then I have this one, which is 07, which is grays and purples. So these are self-striping yarns. These are all with glitter in them because I thought that would be fun. They are also super washable, so they are made to kind of be able to be washed. This is number 03, which is purple and orange. I have this one, which is 01. I couldn't decide, so I just picked a bunch of them. See if it can focus on the ball of yarn. Hey, there we go. Purples and oranges again, but it's a different, this is a much bluer one. As you can see, they have a different, and it's less orange and more orange on that one. Then we have this one, which might be the one I take because of, then I don't have to decide, and the band kind of broke off. It's number 06, so it's a pink and like grey black. Now, they had 2 different kinds of like Halloween yarn, so I also picked up the Universe Halloween sock wool. Now, there's a big difference. This is less itchy than this. This is much more itchy. I am, however, very wool sensitive. I'm not allergic to it, but it does itch me. But yeah, this is color 2. So they're very similar in the tones, but I thought they could be cool to look at. I also picked up number 3, which is a green and a purple, like a more pinkish purple. And then I also picked up this, which is just like blues and purples, like more violet kind of a tone. So yeah, I went a little bit crazy when it came to Halloween yarns. But now I have Halloween socks for the rest of my life, basically. So that is going to be super fun to start playing with. So that was all of my knitting. So I thought I'll just chat a little bit about my life and then let you go on your way. So what is going on in my life? Well, let's start with happy things. I was able to pay off my student loans this month, which is awesome. Swedish student loans are very different from American student loans, so quite simply, it doesn't cost us any money to go to school. Our school is free. We do have to pay for books, and if we are not living with our parents, we need to pay for our housing and our food and all of those things. I moved away from home when I was 18. I started university when I was 24. So I needed to pay for housing and food and stuff. So I took my student loans. Now, the full amount of money you get from the state when I studied, which is over 15 years ago, was about $790 in today's conversion, in today's SEK to dollar conversion. That was what you got from the state. Of that money, about $200 were just like benefits. Anyone could get them, whether you took a student loan or not. You could get those $200 per month if you are studying at a university, and you continuously show progress when you're studying at a university. The rest, which is about $590, is a loan. It is a low interest loan. It is set up for you when you end school. So while you are studying, you don't have to pay for it, but when you leave school, you have to start paying for your loan. It is set up for you to be able to pay it off in about 30 years. They want you to pay it off before you turn 50. You can always contact the state if you're not able to pay it, but in my case, my loan payments were around $75 a month. So it wasn't a very high payment that I paid, and paying that was actually removing some of the loan. So you paid for the interest rate for that year, and on top of that you paid off a certain amount of the loan so that you would be able to pay it off in 30 years. That is how it's set up. I, however, wanted to get rid of it before, because then I have a whole other way to handle my money, and also I have some dreams and goals, and we'll see if I reach them. I hope to be able to, you never know, this might not even be possible, but I hope to be able to go for early retirement by 55. It's a long shot, but I'm working at it, and to be able to do that, I need to get the loan off my back so I can spend those money into actually investing in my future. My little store is part of that plan, so my early retirement isn't mainly just it's not working at all, it is working for myself instead. So my little Etsy shop is part of that plan. I want to build my Etsy shop to the degree that I can leave my 9-to-5 job. I love my 9-to-5 job, but I would have more freedom with my store. In a way, I would have another way of planning my days and everything. So I've for the past since 2015 when I started the store, it's always been in the back of my mind, but it isn't until this year that I'm actually really working on building my store to be able to get to a point where maybe I could work there instead. So that's kind of my life plan. And paying off my student loans was a part of that, to be able to have more money to invest in my company, but also in other things that can make me money. You need different kind of revenue sources, you know. So I paid off my loan. The last money went in the 26th, I think. So that is paid off and done. I don't need to think about it anymore, and it feels so nice. So yeah, that's my good news. My bad news is my migraines isn't gone. So I have my Botox treatment, and I think I talked about it, and sometimes when you have a Botox treatment, if it is delayed, it can just not work. It happens. I have a very complex migraine, I have a very intense migraine, and I have a very, it's not like an attack a day, an attack every 3 days. It's a constant new attacks over each other. So very often I just going off my aura period, and then the new one starts, so they are actually going into each other. So that's kind of sucks. The migraine has become worse and worse for the past week. I was hoping that the Ayurveda treatment that I was going to have on the Monday just after last video would kind of just kick it into gear. It didn't, and I did contact my neurologist at the beginning of this month and said, hey, I have a massive migraine, what do we do? She had one new medication for me to try, which so far haven't worked. So we'll see. I'm going to try a couple more pills to see if it works, and then I'm going to contact my neurologist. That is a migraine medication that isn't covered by the state payment, so I have to pay for it out of my own pocket, and it's fairly expensive. So if it doesn't work, I can't continue paying for it because it feels economically irresponsible to do so. The other thing I have is that I'm taking a I don't know, the word I get in my brain is sedative. I don't know if it is a sedative. It is calming medication, basically. It's usually worked for people with panic attacks, and you can take them, like you take them fairly regularly to kind of drop down your panic attacks. It's not an antidepressant, it's more like a calming medication. It's called Sarotean, and the active ingredients is amitriptyline. So that is basically it comes in different names. Sarotean is the brand name that it came when it came out. Amitriptyline is the medication name for like the newer versions of it. I have tried this before multiple times. I had it when I had panic attacks in my like mid-20s when I went to school, but I basically haven't really used it since then, except for I tried it twice for my migraines. And both of those times, I think it interacted with another medication I have. So it basically has made me into a zombie. However, I have since then dropped that medication. And now taking this medication, I feel so much better. I only take it at night, and I take a very, very small dose. So the usual dose is like 25 milligrams 3 times a day. I take 10 milligrams once, and that is in the evening. And it's to help me sleep, because your migraine can intensify if you can't sleep, and in my case my migraine makes me not sleep. And I must say, it's working. I am feeling a lot better. Might work a little bit calming also, I don't know, but I've been sleeping fairly well this week. It doesn't help with the migraine, it doesn't help with the pain, but it helps with my mood. Like I get sleep, so I have more energy in the beginning of the day. I'm in a much better mood. My brain is much clearer, so I'm just happy about it. I'm gonna continue with this until I don't know, but right now it works very, very well. So there are little sunlight in the darkness. It's always little sunlight in the darkness. And my therapist once said, this is my favorite therapist, my favorite therapist, the one that kind of helped me figure out that I had a self-worth. She also told me that we were talking about depressions, and she said like, first of all, she kind of explained to me that there's a difference between being depressed and being sad. And being sad is something you're allowed to be. You can be sad. It's good to be sad. It's good to acknowledge your feelings, but it's also something that is easier to get out of. A depression, an active depression that you really need help with, is when you're in the darkness and you really don't see any light. But I always have seen light. I always have been striving to get to that light, even if it's been dark and sad. And she said that for me, everyone is different. For me, maybe it's not a depression, it's just a very big bout of sadness. And as long as I can see that light, and I can strive for that light, and that light isn't going away, but I'm actually reaching towards it, maybe I don't need help with the depression at that time. And I think she is right for me. This is how I work, how my mental health works. So I have since then been very much like striving for the light, always dealing with everything that happens in my life. I always deal with it. I'm not for toxic positivity. I'm not for ignoring the sadness and just looking at the happiness. That will never turn out well. But for me, it's like looking for the happiness. It helps me deal with the sadness, and it also helps me have moments of happiness in the sadness when I see all the good things in life. Yeah, basically, I have been talking your ears off. I'm sorry about that. Sometimes that happens. I'm in a very thinkable mood at the moment. It's just how it is. Anyhow, I'm gonna head and edit this video and package my yarn away so my kitties don't eat it up. And then I'm gonna sit down and stitch. So I hope you will have a great week full of stitching and happiness, and hope you can see the light for this week. Big hugs to you all. I hope you had a great week before also. And yeah, I just want everyone to be happy in a good way. Like, I wish that everyone is happy, that they have good things in life, you know? So I hope you have a very good week, and I will see you next week with some more stitching. And then you will see if I actually did some more Halloween stitching, or if I continued with Christmas, or where I went with it all. Anyhow, see you next week. Bye!